To complete the inauguration session and set the stage for our plenary sessions at this investment forum, who better to have addressed us than the State Minister of Money and Capital Markets and State Enterprise Reforms. Please welcome the Honorable Nivard Cabraal.
His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, the Chairman of the Sri Lanka's Chamber of Commerce, Hans Vijaysurya, and my dear friends. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to share a few thoughts with you as you kick off the virtual conference on Invest Sri Lanka, Asia's next growth haven. You're marketing it as Sri Lanka's FDI and capital market showcase. I think that's an apt way of marketing it as well as reflecting it to the world. And I'm particularly pleased to be able to share a few thoughts at the time that you're doing so. Someone might say this is the worst time that you could concentrate on an investment promotion conference. Those who generally see half full glasses will say it's the worst time. They'll say, what on earth are you thinking of doing and inviting people to invest at a time when there is a lockdown, at a time when there are deteriorating macro fundamentals all over the world, at a time when there are challenging global conditions which makes it impossible for people to travel about. Tourism is at a standstill. At a time when the outcomes are unclear. We don't know when these things will change. At every time we have optimistic thoughts, but after some time again it bounces back into pessimistic thoughts. We have weak external accounts all over the world. So at that time, are we doing the right thing by talking about investment? But if you are really a savvy investor, I think you would look at the underlying factors at any time when we are talking about investment. Not only what is there on the surface, not just the torrential rain, but the richness of the soil is what you must be looking at. Not only the deafening noise, but the true melody that there is in the song. Not only the beauty, but also the durability. Can we sustain it? Can this be continuing? Not only what has been done, but what can be done. Where can we go? What is the potential? Now, these are all matters that I think savvy investors look at. And that's where this particular conference, I think, is going to score, because you would be reflecting not only on what is there on the surface, what we can see out there, but what is the deep meaning, what is the thrust that is available, which we should be concentrating upon. So let's dig a little deep. Let's drill down a little further. Let's examine the richness of the soil. Let's listen to the melody. Let's understand the durability. Let's analyze as to what can be done. And then if you do that, I would say you would see Sri Lanka's awesome potential. This was thought about some time ago. I remember when Ruchir Sharma wrote in his book, Breakout Nations, he had an entire chapter devoted for Sri Lanka in 2013 and 2014. We had potential. He talked about what can be done. He of course talked about the challenges as well as the dangers and the areas that we should be cautious about. But at the same time, if those are got right, the awesome potential that this country has and what it can do to investors was not lost on people like that who dug deep into Sri Lanka's context. So let's look at the glass as being half full. And I would like to talk about underlying valuations, underlying infrastructural programs that we have, the social development areas that Sri Lanka is talking about. I'm sure in the next few days, all of you will be reflecting on those areas, and I think there will be people who will talk about it at length, and therefore I don't want to talk about those in detail. But I would like to preface by saying one thing, that Sri Lanka's infrastructure development program started in 2006 during the time of Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa being the president at that time. And at that time, we started it while the war was going on. People asked us, are you mad to be doing these things? But in times of war, you need to prepare for peace. In times of peace, you will prepare for war. But in times of war, you got to prepare for peace. So at that time, we started on all the development projects. We started on the Hambantota port. We started on the Norachole power plant. We started on the infrastructure of the new highways. We started on the airport. We started on all those projects before the war was over. So that when the war was over, we had the canvas to go fast and forward. That's why Sri Lanka had 8% growth. It didn't happen automatically. It didn't suddenly fall down from heaven. It was through careful planning, careful strategies that were implemented that Sri Lanka was able to have that growth momentum during that period. So let's see what we can do again. I'll start with the capital markets. I have some responsibility for the capital markets, being the state minister who is responsible for that. Way back in 2014, Sri Lanka's market cap was $24.4 billion. Today, it's only $14.5 billion. There is a drop of $10 billion during the period of the last 7 years. But what does that tell you? That tells you that there is awesome potential, awesome value that is within the stock exchange companies that are listed. It is there with other companies as well. But those who come at this time and take up positions at this time will definitely benefit by that. And that's what this is all about. So invest at the right time. If you do invest at the right time, there is tremendous potential for you to realize your own investments at a very high level. Take the debt markets. In 2014, in Sri Lanka's government debt, there was as much as $3.4 billion invested. Today we have opened it out again. Today we are saying, come and invest in the government bonds. We'll give you even a guarantee on the exchange rate so that if there is a risk, that risk is also mitigated. So there is a huge opportunity there as well. Sri Lanka has never defaulted. Sri Lanka is making sure that everything goes in the right way to ensure that we can make ends meet and to see that that is done. And I can assure you that as well. There's opportunities for private equity. There are so many companies that have gaps in their investment levels, gaps in their capital that can be filled. So those can be also looked at by all the investors who are coming to Sri Lanka. The FDI opportunities are also very, very significant. There's a Hambantota industrial zone. I'm sure there will be topics that will be talked about today. There will be the farmer zone. There's the port-related activities. The Colombo Port City. We have just opened out with the law, and the law has been just enacted by Parliament. So there is investment opportunities in the port city. The IT sector, we have embraced 5G. Education, health, and commercial sectors are also available. Power and energy, hospitality and leisure, infrastructure development. These are all areas that Sri Lanka could have foreign direct investment coming in. And the laws that Sri Lanka has already promulgated will provide the space for those investments to come in and to be taken up by investors from all over the world. Just because there is COVID, just because there is a challenge at hand, we don't forget about our direction and our vision. If you have a son and you want to make him an engineer, or you have a daughter whom you want to make a doctor, because she falls ill for 3 days, you don't give up the idea. The same way, in a country, if you have challenges, you will meet those challenges, but at the same time, your overall vision and your goal must be looked at. So what will the government do? The government has a lot of things to do. It will improve the macro fundamentals. We are working hard at that. We are looking at non-debt inflows, and we'll work on that in the next few years as well. We will look at the improving of the doing business indicators. I think there's a session on that, and my ministry is also working on that in all the aspects of doing business, from starting a business to dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering a property, paying taxes, trading across borders, enforcing contracts, resolving insolvency, and all that. And at the same time, we'll provide incentives. We know investors want incentives. Yes, we will provide that. We will provide a sustainable framework. That's why the laws have to be there. We have to provide the enabling legislation. We will provide the policy consistency. Even in the midst of COVID, we didn't change our policies. We allowed the tax policies that we have introduced to continue. We didn't change those. We will ensure social harmony. That's why some very ambitious projects like Water for All, it will cost us quite a bit of money, but we want to see that every single person in Sri Lanka has the basic necessities. We will also ensure that there is human-elephant conflict as well as 100,000 kilometers of roads. Those are all done in order to ensure that Sri Lanka can go forward with a lot of interest in the future. So we would ask you to also take a few steps. Think long term. Back yourselves. Help to maintain the macro fundamentals. Forge partnerships between yourselves and foreign investors. Build spaces and reserves in your own companies. And then you would find that you would have the necessary ability to go forward with Sri Lanka. I would like to end by reminding you of a little film that I saw, The Life of Pi. Life of Pi, there was a shipwreck. He got into this boat, and then in the boat, he had to go through that journey with Richard Parker, which was the Bengali tiger. But he went through that. And that's sometimes the challenge that we have. Sometimes we have challenges. We have big challenges, but we have to go through those challenges in order to realize our dreams and our goals. Thank you very much.